Hey, before we start this video, did you know there's a YouTube channel called Jack and Core starring Core and Jack? You didn't? Well, aren't you just one stupid? It's a YouTube channel starring two friends as they react to some pretty bad anime, and man, it can get pretty wacky. Have the audience know that in my notes for this video scripting it, I had used the dumb Nickelodeon voice. So subscribe to Jack and Core as I continue this video. Look at me! I have a Funimation subscription, and a Crunchyroll subscription, and a Netflix subscription. I am officially the hottest bitch at this party. Acknowledge me now, and watch me chug this shot of Rumble Mint to do a gainer off the DJ booth. Listen to the words I say. Michiru is problematic, causing problems all over the place. What's the problem, you might say? I might be a furry now. I honestly loved BNA when it came out. I'm sorry I baited you into this, okay? It's a little bit clickbaity, my bad. Can I make it up to you by offering you this Miku Hatsune Snow Miku Edition strawberry white kimono version? To make it up to you, ooh. I love Studio Trigger. I never understand the blatant hate that fans give it, like, oh, everything Trigger touches is ill. It's inky, it's stinky, ill. Get it away from me, stop, I don't want it, ill. And I also don't understand the blind praise that a lot of people give Trigger. Like, you know, Kids Never wasn't that good, okay? We can admit that. Trigger sometimes makes bad things, but BNA embodies everything I love about Studio Trigger. The first half of BNA, before the reuniting of some spoiler stuff that happens, I can go back and pick any random episode and just watch it as if it was a slice of life anime now that I know the context of what's going on. The baseball episode being a perfect example. Other Trigger shows that I love mostly do this. Shows like Kill la Kill. The earlier episodes of Kill la Kill up until the tournament and Yui's entrance, I could pick a random episode and watch it like a tennis episode or the marathon episode of going to school. It's just entertaining. And you don't really need that much context other than the intro of the first episode to enjoy a random episode in that first half. On top of that, giving us colorful characters, including the background characters that don't want to make me absolutely hate it and punch it into the ground. It leaves you watching the show and wondering where it's all going before giving you the big showboat of explosions and cool power-ups and wrapping everything up in a nice little bow at the end. Darling in the Franxx was filled with fun fights and found a way to escalate the final fight to fucking space with a waifu boat at the end, and it was way too over dramatic. And it's a good example of Trigger kind of, running off the rails a little bit. Trigger was able to keep the ending of BNA to its own little world and even city, and its own inner problems without dragging it out to otherworldly issues to make up for it, which is a big kind of thing Trigger has been guilty for, dragging a random thing into the last few episodes that had nothing to do with the beginning plot to make up for the lack of plot leading up to the ending. Despite the crazy plot of animals and government power in BNA is one of the most grounded, down-to-earth Trigger shows that I've seen in recent years, which is maybe why I loved it so much. Now, spoiler for the ending for anyone who hasn't watched it, but I want to talk about the specific scenes. Michiru's honesty to herself and want to become human again while slowly loving the Beastman in the city gave me anticipation for at the edge of my seat. For when the cure for her Beastman disease, as she calls it, gets a cure, I was at the edge of my seat thinking, oh man, is she really going to be forced to become human again and have to deal with this after loving being a Beastman for so long? The big plot point that the show was giving you the first half was actually solved halfway through the show. That being Michiru's Beastman disease, an issue of why her and her friend were turned into Beastmen in the first place. But in fact, it was a very simple explanation. It was solved halfway. Beastman blood just got mixed in with theirs by accident after they had an accident with a car, and the blood being mixed in turned them into Beastmen. No overarching plot, no crazy experimentation, just an actual mistake. Thus moving on with the show and trying to figure out where the show's big reveal of what's gonna happen. Also, Trigger has made me very suspicious of every blonde, powerful figure with a white suit. Thanks a lot, Premier. But I kind of expected this guy to be the bad guy. Even the twist of him being like a Beastman, it felt like Premier's plot line. But it was a fun show altogether. Michiru's honest character of wanting to do the right thing and discovering her powers awakening was such a fun thing to unfold in front of me. Shiro's grouchiness and big backstory reveal was the biggest pleasure to watch, honestly, throughout the show. And all the colorful side characters like the hustling Mink or Jackie. Oh man, I absolutely adore Jackie. Almost every episode gives Michiru a glance at the world of the Beastmen and wanting to understand them and the city. I don't know if there will ever be a season 2 of BNA, no matter how much I like the show, knowing Trigger and knowing how the story evolved, because the biggest investments and questions were answered within the show. Would I love to see more? Yes, absolutely, honestly. With all the interesting characters in the city of the Beastmen, I honestly think this show could have been 24 episodes, but a man could dream. Also, side note, the opening slapped and looked phenomenal. Also, the ending night running was used a lot in the actual show, which I love when shows do that. All in all, BNA was one of my favorite Trigger shows I've enjoyed over the recent years. I love the characters, the plot was great to get into, and like I said earlier, I could just go back and rewatch any of the first 5 episodes and just have fun with it, which is a charm that Trigger can do sometimes with shows. With that being said, thank you for listening to me ramble on about brand new animals. I just wanted to get my opinions out there of why I love this show, and you know, Studio Trigger absolutely slapping this one perfectly and becoming one of the hands down my favorites Trigger show. The great aesthetics of the show and the world and the iconic Trigger animations made this such a great eye catcher. If you haven't watched Brand New Animals, go to Netflix right now, watch it. It's like, so much fun. So much fun. I can go into details about specific episodes, like the episode where the Beast City's equivalent of Kingpin's daughter actually goes out and parties and becomes human with her human form, to the absolutely phenomenal baseball episode, to even the final climax. The show all around was just great and fun, and if you haven't watched it yet, I highly recommend it. I love Michiru. I might possibly be a furry. I don't know. I think she's cute as hell. And if you like this video and you want to see more, like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. The way YouTube is nowadays, you really gotta, I'm just kidding with you. I'm not gonna give you the whole spiel. You know what to do. Also, weird question, but I've been thinking about when I was scripting this video and watching BNA, what animal would I be? Like, look, I'm not a fucking furry, right? Don't call me a furry. I'm not a fucking furry. And I will hit you so hard that your father will thank me, shake my hand, and buy me dinner if you call me a fucking furry. But I seriously have no idea what animal I would be if I was a beastman, so I just kind of wanted to get, you know, in the comment section, let me know what I would be. I don't know. I'm curious. No, I'm not a fucking furry. Shout out to all my Patreons that are on the screen right now. I have a $7 tier now that I've been trying to figure out what to do with. I used to do giveaways, but with Corona going around, I don't want to really do a lot of mailing. Maybe once a month we could play some games. I got Uno. You got Uno? You like Uno? I like Uno. My name is Dakota Broskie. Take care, and I love you.